Alright, today is August 7th, 2006. I am Sarah Locker. It is a pleasure to conduct this interview for the Dakota Memories Oral History Project outside Zeeland, North Dakota. Can you state your full name, please?
My name is Joe Klein.
And when and where were you born?
I was born here on this place in February the 22nd. Do I have to give my age?
Kind of nice.
February the 22nd, 1928.
And what can you tell us about your birth? You said it was in this house behind us here, or in front of us.
Yes, I was born in this place, and I've been living here all my life. So I don't know. I think I'm going to die here.
Did you ever hear any interesting stories about your birth?
Not really. No. I know I was the first one, that was born alive, so they took pretty good care of me, because I had two first that died before me, when they were born. So they were pretty precious, I suppose.
And now you collect numerous things. Can you tell us what this is behind us here?
This is a horse road grader from the 1920s, what they used, years ago to blade the road on the gravel road, to blade it, That's what they used with the horses,
So where would the horses would have been attached to the front?
First was a friend, and the guys were sitting. The driver was sitting here, and the one that operated was sitting back there running the machine.
Would you ever have used anything like this?
I never used it. I don't know how to use it. I could use it, but I never did.
Did you have graded roads by this farm when you were growing up? Or
Yeah, well, down here the county was gravel road, county road down here where it's paved now. That used to be graveled, and then they came and they bladed, back and forth, to keep it level, smooth, years ago.
Go ahead.
And this here is a dump rake. First they cut the hay, mowed the hay, and then they had to, when it was dry, they went over it and made rows, and then they pushed it together, on piles, and then they loaded by hand, on the wagons. That's how they made the hay years ago.
Okay, so that would have just raked it all up. And
Yeah, that raked the hay up.
Something would have sat on there.
Yeah, you had two horses in front, and then you had to step on the lever, then it dumped. Yeah.
And then what is this piece of equipment?
This is a steamer tank where they hauled the water to the steamers years ago. Steam tractors, when they trashed or something like that. Those old steam engines years ago. They had to have water, all the time. So they had to haul the water with this out there. See, they pumped it full with the pump up there, and then they hauled it out and put it into the steamers.
How many trips would one of these
Well,
just fill the steamer?
They usually about, I'd say 3 trips a day, to keep the water, in the steam tractors, going.
So this is all that it would have been used for. It's just a thrashing.
Yeah.
Would a steam thrasher, would that have been a team that would have gone from farm to farm, or did farmers just get together and help each other out?
Well, it was usually they went from farm to farm, people helped each other out, and then they, them days, there wasn't too many of those big steam outfits around, so they used them for thrashing,
Would one farmer own the thrasher that would take it around?
Usually one farmer owned the thrasher and the other farmer owned the tractor, the steamer, the machine. So they usually got together, and then they went to the farms, and then they charged so much a bushel, and that's how they did it years ago.
When would a steam thrasher like this have been used?
Well, I haven't been used since, I suppose, in the 20s, yet. But in the 30s, they didn't use them no more. There was more headering there, and they trashed with different machines. They had a lot of gas tractors there already, so they used gas tractors.
So you would have done more of baling hay and thrashing on with balers versus a steam thrasher, or do you remember
No, they
seeing one of
didn't.
these used?
They didn't use the steam tractors too much for plowing or anything. They just used it mostly to drive something like a threshing machine or some big machine. But otherwise, they didn't use them. They were too clumsy and too slow. But for threshing, they were the only thing they really used, the big steam engines.
And what did you grow on the farm? What did your family grow and
It was
have?
mostly wheat and oats and barley, flax. That's mostly. We didn't. Well, there was some corn, but we had to pick it by hand. So I hope they didn't plant too much. There was not. There was no sunflowers or beans and stuff like they've got now.
Did you sell the corn, or was the corn used
No,
for?
that was just used. What we picked it by hand, and threw it in a wagon box and took it home and fed it to the pigs, and to the. Oh, yeah.
What would the cattle have eaten? Would you?
Well, no, the cattle didn't get too much corn. The cattle just had their hay, and oats, but otherwise the corn was mostly used for the pigs.
Okay. Did you have any other animals on the farm?
Well, we had horses, a lot of horses, and pigs, and cows, and well, one year we had sheep, I remember, but otherwise there wasn't any. Well, a lot of chickens, and geese, and ducks, and that was used to. We had everything, years ago.
That is quite a bit. Would you have ever used the horses just for riding around? Or were
Oh
they
yeah,
horses?
that's our transportation. Sundays, that's the only way we could get to the neighbors or something. And then during harvest we couldn't use, or during spring work we couldn't use them because they had to be rested. We couldn't use them so we had to walk.
When you went to church with them, or when you went to the neighbors, did you ever ride the horses, or did they pull a cart behind?
No, we always rode them. But well, when we went to church we had a trailer, but otherwise for company we just rode the horses.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What church did you attend?
We went to the St. John's Church up here, 4 miles up here.
And,
Where the cemetery is now yet.
and it's a Catholic church?
It was a Catholic church, yeah.
Was religion important to your family?
Oh, them days religion was much more important than it is now. Yeah, people were all, if there's nobody that missed a Sunday. If somebody missed a Sunday, they thought they were sick. Everybody knew there was something wrong. So they had to be, everybody was in church all the time. And it could be storming or cold or raining or no matter what, we had to go to church. Yeah.
And when you went to church, did you guys sit as a family in church?
No, the men sat on one side and the women on the one side. No, we didn't get. The kids sat in front, and the older ones in back. But there was always the women on one side and the men on one side.
Was there ever a worry with the kids sitting up in front together that they would get a little
No,
mischievous?
they had to be pretty good, or the parents came up and took them by the ears. So they were good in church. They had to behave.
What language was Mass said in when you went to church?
It was in German most of the time, but later on, then in the later 30s, I think, or the 40s, they started English. Then it was more English.
What did you guys think of it changing to English?
Well, for some of them older people, it was hard. It was different. Everything was different. It's just like when they changed here the last time, to the different Mass, and stuff like that. It was hard for some of them old people to take it. But with time, I think everybody was satisfied. It worked out.
Did you kids mind?
No, the kids didn't care. They were, as long as they were in church, that's all they didn't care for. But
Could you understand the homilies? Were they spoken in the same dialect of German that you used?
yeah, oh yeah, they had to. That was always, yeah, we understood them, but they were so long. They were always hour long, the homilies. Oh gosh, and then, church was always so long. They started, at 9 or 10 sometimes. And then there was church, and then there was religious, for the kids, religion. That was, and then there was mass and Eucharist and all that stuff, And it usually was 12 o'clock till we got out.
It's a long service.
Yeah, it was long. And now when it's an hour, they think it's too long. Yeah.
Did families hang around after Mass and chat?
Yeah, before Mass. They usually went a little earlier than everybody was, standing around and talking. That's the only time a lot of them got together. But after Mass, everybody was hurrying to go home to eat. They were hungry. The soup was on. Yeah.
How important was First Communion and Confirmation to your family?
Well, we had to go to religious school for usually a month or so in June, after the other schools. We had to, and we usually had sisters, from Hankinson. And we had to learn the whole catechism by heart from front to that was hard, But
Did you learn it in English or German?
it was in English.
Okay.
We learned it in English there already, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did your family have any kind of celebration afterward? Inviting grandparents to come?
Oh yes, at communion there was always a kind of a reception then after that in the house and the home, for the grandparents and the aunts and uncles sometimes.
Would your mom prepare a special meal?
Yeah, they had to. That was usually, and the biggest day was the 24th of June, that was St. John's. People came from all over, the church was filled. And we were glad that then it was full, we didn't have to go in. Kids were outside then running around. And people they came from all over, and then everybody went to some of their relations, and that was a big feast day them days. Nobody worked.
Well, on St. John's Day would have been the namesday for the church,
Yeah,
that celebration?
Yeah, that was a big day, St. John's Day.
Did the church have any activities, or did you come back and
No,
celebrate each house?
we usually came back to the farms and to the... See, and then they stayed for dinner and for supper, and they went home, years ago, them people. Yeah.
Now, can you explain what this equipment is over here?
This is a scraper they used in the roads to build up roads, a 4-horse scraper, that they used to build roads, or some stuff like that, build it up, and then they dumped it, so you just lift the handle, it dumped it by itself.
Oh, so would this have been attached to another machine, or what would it...
No, you got to have horses on there. 4 horses they used, yeah.
Where would the horses have been attached?
They were attached to right here. Do this. See, and then you lift it up the handle. See, and then it dumped automatically.
Oh.
See, it dumped over. See, and then you could go and get another load. That's how they built up them roads years ago. Yeah. And this is that's a feed grinder. That's how they used to, barley and oats or stuff like that. They ground it for the horses and cows, and they had to put a tractor on it and ground it.
A steam tractor, or just
no, you could put
regular tractor you hook
a
the belt up?
regular tractor, yeah. It didn't need too much power. Oh. Yeah, and this is a corn cultivator. That's a 2-row. No, see, you know, corn cultivator, you had to, when the corn was up, you know, you had to sit on there all day and drive it, you know, between the rows. And if you weren't careful, you know, you had to see them steps, you had to push it back and forth. If not, you dug out the corn. So.
Would the rows in between the corn have been that way? I see 3 different scrapers here.
Yeah, it would be right in here. It was just a 1-row deal here. You could just cultivate 1 row.
And what made this go forward? What powered it?
Horses.
So this would have been just for cultivating, just for weeding in between.
You had 2 horses on there.
Oh, that attached to those spots there.
I had 2 horses on there, and that's how you. Yeah, I tried to restore everything, so it's ready to go with most of the equipment here.
So this would have been something your parents would have used, or would you have
I
also
used that I used a lot of times. I remember after the 4th of July, could hardly get my eyes open. Had to sit on that in the hot heat, you know, and cultivate corn.
How often would you go up and down a field to cultivate?
Well, maybe 2-3 times a year, you know. Depends how weedy it got.
Okay. And it was just a matter of weeds. It wasn't just to break up the ground. It was for weeding in between.
To get the weeds out on the sides.
How long would it take you? Well, I suppose I should ask about how much land did your parents have that you plant?
That's why they didn't ever meet more than 20-30 acres of corn. Because you'd have to be sitting on one of them things all day, all the time. No, they didn't seed too much. Now, if they'd have corn like now, you know, they'd never get it cleaned. They'd never get it cultivated.
Because this would have been an all-day task for a field of corn.
Yeah, that was slow work. Yeah. And this is a mower. That's a horse mower. That's how they cut the hay years ago.
Oh, because that's the blade over there.
Yeah,
standing upright.
Yeah, that's a blade.
And you just sat on it as the blade.
Yeah, you sat on there, and then the horses, you know, you put it in gear back here, you switch and you sat on there. And
this would have been pulled by 2?
This by 2 horses too, yeah. Yeah.
And so you would have also used something like this, did you?
Oh yeah, we used that a lot.
Wow. And you would just go through and cut the hay. And then you just laid it in the field till you came back.
Then you come with that rake I showed you over there. See, and you raked it together in piles and hauled it home.
You just hauled it home in piles, or you wouldn't have bound it in any way. It just would have been loose hay.
Yeah. Yeah.
About what time in the season would you start cutting down your hay?
Usually around the middle of June, you know, around June, you know, is that when we start cutting, you know.
In the middle of June? Well, how long would that take you to cut it down? And
in June?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to, that's when we cut it, and then we let it lay for a day or so, and then it came with the rake and raked it up when it's dry.
And then to the field, would you just get the field ready then for winter, or would you plant something?
No, it's usually was lakes or pasture or stuff like that, or alfalfa ground. See, that just kept left lay till next year, and it grew again.
Oh, so you didn't have to replant?
No. The only thing we replanted was millet and stuff like that, but.
So there wasn't all that time of getting the field ready.
Yeah. Yeah. Now this is a hammer mill. That almost works like that grinder there too. See, you shovel the stuff in here and it blew it out here, you know, it's kind of.
Oh, you shoveled it on the backside?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, then it came out on the. That worked a little better than the grinder.
And this would have been hooked up to a tractor as well?
This was used with a tractor, yeah.
Okay.
This had power takeoff.
What does that mean?
Power takeoff on the tractor in the back, you know, they had a little deal in the back for power takeoff. You put that in, and then it turned the machine.
Okay. And all tractors came with something to hook it
Yeah,
on like
most
that?
of the tractors had power takeoff.
All you had to do was just run the tractor?
Yeah.
And it would do that? Okay.
Just run it, and then it did the work.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, this was a little handier, but...
You could do a little more in one shot?
Oh yeah, it worked faster too. But it didn't do it as fine as that one. That one you could set, you know, make it like flour almost. And this was a little, that was a disc. That's what they had years ago. You sat on there, and you had 2 horses in front, and that's how they disc the land, you know.
What do you mean disc the land?
Well, to make it, see, instead of plowing, some used this, you know, when the ground wasn't too weedy. They could use this, you know, to get it ready to seed it, you know, with the drill. Before you seeded it, they went over with this. See, that kind of threw the ground up and took the weeds, cut the weeds off, and
And now that seat doesn't look like the most comfortable thing to balance on and sit on.
If you sit on there all day, it wasn't a... And then when you hit a rock, you know, that threw you up, you know, that...
Well, and didn't your feet... Oh, there are 2 little pegs there for your feet.
Yeah, you could, yes.
You'd be a pretty tall person.
Well, you could kind of... Sometimes you could set them, but not in this one.
Okay.
Oh.
So this one pulled by horses. Did your family use this?
Yes, I used it. I used it myself a lot of times. Yeah, I've been using that.
It's a lot of implements that you have.
Yeah. See, now this is another one, cultivator, but that's got the shields on. See, when it's small, see if the shields aren't on, it would cover up the corn.
Okay, so this would call... Oh.
This you could use before that one, because they have the shields on. See, then with the shields, she didn't throw the dirt over on the plants, you know, on the corn.
Corn just hung right in the middle.
So this way it kept it away from the corn.
Again, this was only pulled by 2 horses?
Yeah, it was pulled by horses.
And all these were for dropping different... All these levers up here?
The levers to set the depth and the... Yeah, I sat many hours on one of them things.
None of these seats look very comfortable.
No, they're not like, they didn't have cushions like nowadays, or springs or air. Yeah.
When did you start helping out in the field a lot?
Well, I was pretty young. I was about, I'd say around 7, 8, you know, and I had to help a lot.
When you were the oldest boy, so
Yeah.
I suppose, were you just always next to your dad helping him out?
Yeah, see, I was usually the one that did almost most of the plowing. You know,
Okay.
they put me on there till it was cool in the wintertime, and till the ground was froze. I was sitting on a plow.
Helping out your dad.
Yeah.
What was your dad like?
Pardon?
What was your dad like?
Oh, he was a good man. He wouldn't. I don't think I ever got a licking from him. No, he was all right.
And he farmed all his life?
Yeah, he farmed till he retired, and then I took over.
And we talked earlier, your father immigrated when he was 8?
Yeah, he came over. He was 8 years old when he came over from Germany or Russia, you know.
Did you ever hear any stories from him about it? About the trip?
No, I wish he'd have told us more about it, but we weren't interested in like kids them days, you know, and just didn't care for it. Like, now it's too late. Now we don't know what... See, a lot of them have history. A lot of people have history from way back.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't got too much, you know, from how they lived or how they... I know they had it first few years was pretty hard for them because they had to break up all the sod, you know, and all the and live in old houses. But they did all right.
And how many children did your parents have?
They had 11 children. See, my dad was married twice.
Okay.
See, my first wife died, or his first wife died when in the flu epidemics there in the 1917, 20,
Okay.
the influenza there.
Did he have any children with his first wife?
Yeah, he had 4 children, 2 girls and 2 boys.
Okay. And then he married your mother, and
see, then my mother was the babysitter here then. Her sister was my dad's wife's sister, first mother's, dad's wife's sister, you know. So she was always working here, I suppose, and then Dad married her. So
that's how they met. So now, if amongst the 11 boys and girls, if you guys are being a little rambunctious or mischievous, who would discipline?
Well, usually Mom was the one that. Dad was he came at you. He'd think he'd hit you, but till he was in front of you, then he turned back. He tried to scare you, yeah, but he didn't. He really didn't harm nobody. But Mom was the one that always tried to get everybody in shape.
And when was your dad born?
Where?
When?
When my dad was born?
Yeah,
I've got it in the house, I think. I got to
Okay.
tell you that later. I know it's in the 1800s.
Okay.
Uh,
What's your favorite memory of your dad?
well, I don't know. As far as I know, he always smoked a pipe and a cigar. That I remember. And he usually, when he went to town, he usually put a tie on. You know, always had a tie. He used to wear a tie. That was a big deal.
And did the older 2 brothers help out on the field as well?
Well, they were usually gone. They were gone. See, Tony left. He got married when he was 17. So he left. He didn't do much here on the farm. And Johnny, you know, joined the service in 41. So he never was home. So he didn't do too much in the field. But they helped along. As long as they were here, they helped along. But like I say, then Johnny went to the CCs there in the 30s, and then after that he joined the service.
How did your half brothers and sisters like it when your dad remarried? Did they get along well with your mother?
I would think so. I would think so, because she raised them. You know, they were young kids when first wife died, so she raised them. And I never heard any complaints or nothing that they... This is a corn planter. That's how we used to plant the corn.
And how does it work?
Well, you put 2 horses on, you put the corn you put the corn in here. See, then you sat on there and drove up and down.
And did it have some kind of release to just had a small opening on the bottom to
Yes, it
release
fell down. See them discs there? They kind of made a ridge,
Okay.
and it fell into them. Yeah, that was a slow process, but it worked.
About how many rows could you get before you had to fill it with more corn?
Usually it depends how long the field was, about 2 rounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there'd be somebody else coming along hauling the corn down the field?
Well, that's it was setting at the end.
Okay.
Usually set at the end, and they filled it when they came up to the end.
And for farms, would they have had a couple of these pieces of machinery, or would there only have been
No, they
one
only
of each?
had one, and sometimes, you know, the neighbors came and got them. You know, they kind of they kind of loaned them out, to the neighbors, because I know the neighbor always got ours here.
And were most of your neighbors German Russian as well?
Oh yeah, they were all German Russians.
So they were good neighborhood relations.
Yeah. Yeah, they always, years ago, everybody helped each other out. When they built something or something worked, usually the neighbors helped. Even butchering, there was 3, 4 neighbors helping, There was always help.
And it'd be kind of a...
Which nowadays they don't. If you ask somebody, what do you pay? I've got no time, and it's not like it used to be.
So when you would butcher the meat, would whoever's meat you're butchering, would they make a meal for everybody?
Oh yeah, that had to taste it, see if it was good. Oh yeah, that was a big deal.
And it just became a...
First you had to, yeah, first you had to have plenty of wine.
It was wine? It wasn't Inuretta?
Oh no, that was wine there years when then they butchered first, and then, yeah, I remember a story when Dad always told them about how they had a neighbors, they went and they killed a pig, and they thought the pig was dead, so they went into the house, do you have a wine, to drink? And when they came out, they couldn't find the pig no more. The pig must have got up again, and they drove around to find it, to find it at the neighbors, I think, or someplace. I don't know, they found it, but they said it was the funniest thing when they came up. When they came out, the pig was gone. Yeah.
What kind of wine would it have been?
It was mostly homemade wine, raisin wine or homemade stuff, that they made
choke
with
cherries
cherries and stuff like that, yeah.
And did your mom make it, or would your dad have made it?
Well, they both. Dad usually made the wine and the beer. We always had beer, I remember. We always had homemade beer and wine. So I think Dad usually made the wine, but Mom made the beer a lot of the times.
Was there any worry about prohibition while you're making the beer and wine?
Well, I think they didn't care, because most of the people did it them days, and there wasn't nobody. The only thing they were kind of with whiskey stills, when you brew whiskey, that they kind of came around and checked, and destroyed the stills and stuff like that. But
did any neighbors get their stills around you broken?
Yes, I remember there was a few of them that I know one even had it hidden in the trash machine blower. They found it and they destroyed it. Yeah.
Did anybody ever get arrested for
No,
alcohol?
they didn't arrest them. They just destroyed their pills and warned them, I think, but I don't think they ever got arrested.
Okay.
Well, I think they never sold it. They usually used it for themselves or give it away, and it really wasn't sold them days, I think. Oh, there were some of them that sold, drove around and sold the stuff, but...
Was there ever a problem with alcohol, of consuming too much?
Not really. Well, there were some people that were really heavy drinkers, but there was no problems really that they had domestic problems, I would say, or something like that. I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah.
Let's go on to this next piece of
Okay,
here.
this is another grinder. That's another smaller grinder, that they used to grind the oats and barley, for the horses,
Again,
because
hook it up
they
to
usually
a
had
tractor.
to, we usually had to grind it for horses years ago when in the field work, when they worked, when they came home, you had to give them some ground oats or barley.
So did you grind everything you had, or did you grind as you fed them?
We usually ground when we started it, we did a pretty big pile, and then see if you ground too much, it got kind of warm, hot, So we usually ground about, I'd say maybe 30 bushels or 40 bushels, something like that, and then we.
And that would have lasted you about a week for them all?
Yeah.
For everything? Okay.
Yeah, that worked pretty good. They used to have 4 horses on the one bottom plow, and you worked all day, and By evening you had a little strip, you could hardly see. Yeah, that's
So this would have just plowed one spot to plant in.
one row, one furrow. Yeah, see that one is a 2-bottom then. That was a little bigger then. See, then you had 2 rows.
And how many horses would that one take?
We usually had 5 on there.
Okay, and now what's with the different size wheels on it?
Well, the wheels are the same, I think. The wheel size.
I mean, from size, that side has one large wheel where this side has...
Oh, this one is always in the fur. See, this one was in the fur.
What's
that one's on the outside, yeah. That
was fur.
Fur is the one, when you went through it once, see, then there was a space where the plow turned it over, so you had to have this one in the fur, so the next layer came over the top, beside it, so there was no fur or rows in there. But see, that unit was even then. See, that made it.
Okay. And so going up and down a field, this you may have gotten a couple times by the end with 4 horses on this one.
Yeah.
And the horse. So it would have taken you for 20 acres of corn a month to get the field ready?
If you had a good day, you could plow with 2 bottoms. You could plow 7 acres.
Okay.
But with this, you'd have to, I'd say maybe half of it with a 1 bottom. But with 2 bottom, I remember they used to say 7 acres you can plow with it.
With both of them.
No.
And again, you just kind of sit on there and hold on and hope you don't hit any bumps.
Yeah, no, I'll hit a rock. When you hit a rock, you flew up front. See, sometimes the horses knew already to stop, but when you hit a rock, that really gave you a jolt. We'd have a sleep sitting on there and then hit a rock. Yeah.
And would the rock often damage the...
Not really. See, it wasn't fast enough for the horses. It didn't damage the plowshare, But see, they got dull so long, then you had to take them into the blacksmith, and they sharpened them. The bottom part you could take off. See, that's just the lay. Take the plow lay off and take them in, and I remember the blacksmith at Zealand, there was piles and piles. He was busy all day and all night just sharpening and hammering those plowshares.
Would you take them in yearly to get fixed?
The what?
Would you take those in every year to get sharpened?
Oh yeah, maybe 2 twice a year.
Okay.
Or even more sometimes, depends how much you plowed.
And how many rocks you hit?
Yeah, you had to take them in.
So with this kind of equipment, would you still have gone through the fields picking rock?
Oh yes, you had to pick rocks after it was done plowing. Oh my, every year for weeks we had to walk around, pick rocks and throw them on a box and take them to the rock pile and throw them all off again. Or now they got the rock pickers, they go through it and dump them and be done. Yeah, that was hard work. Weeks and weeks we walked around the plowed fields picking rocks.
Would that have been the least favorite chore on the farm to do?
To me it was the least, I think. That was so useless. But
now where your feet fit on all this equipment, it doesn't look really cushioned. Did you wear shoes when sitting on this?
Oh yes, we usually had shoes on.
Okay.
But I know in the springtime sometimes it was so cold. I used to pick thistles and put it on the seat, to keep warm. It was warmer then. That used to be. It was always so cold, in the spring, and then it rained and snowed, and we sat on them things. When you think back, I wonder how many people would do it yet. But we didn't know no better. Everybody else did it, so we did it too, I think. Oh.
What time of day would you get up in the summer to begin your day of farm work?
Well, we usually had to get up pretty early because we usually milked a lot of cows. And we milked first, and then we got the horses ready, harnessed them, and then we went and had breakfast, and then we left, It's usually by 8 o'clock we were in the fields.
But you'd already done chores before breakfast.
Yeah.
And how late would you stay out doing work?
It usually got dark till we got home.
Wow. Long days.
Yeah, so we usually, then we had to unhook the horses and walk home with the horses and let the plow out there.
The 4 horses that you used all day, would they be rested by the next day to go again?
Well, usually we switched off. Sometimes, we switched some off, but they usually got fed pretty good, and they usually rested. And the next day, they were ready again.
So how many horses would you have had?
Well, I know we had around, I'd say maybe 15.
Okay. So everybody could, if you needed a couple implements out,
Yeah.
you could have them out.
But that was the best way to break in a horse, is on a plow. So you could put him in between the other horses, and they started learning then. But to break them in was sometimes the hardest thing, because they were kind of wild. They didn't want to go. But when you had them in between some horses, they went. They didn't take long till they got used to it.
Did you ever have any horses take off on you? Or
Oh yeah,
try bucking
quite a bit. I know once with the mower, I was cutting, beside the trees, and I think a pheasant or some birds flew out, and the horse got scared, and they took off. I fell off, and by the time, the wheels were broke then. Everything by the time they went home in front of the barn. There they stopped.
How upset was your dad that now you had to fix the equipment?
Yeah, then you had to. Well, we usually had 2 of each. We usually had a spare.
Okay.
Almost had to have some. Yeah.
Were you guys good at fixing the equipment yourself?
Oh yes, we did most of the stuff. We always had everything.
The blacksmith was mainly for.
Yeah, because Dad had a forge, and he did a lot of iron work.
Okay.
So we usually fixed it again.
Was that common for a lot of farmers to be able, that they had a forge and could do their own iron work?
Yeah, a lot of them did their own, because them days, if you had baling wire, you could almost fix anything. Yeah, those days, you take a plow like that, there's nothing that really can break or go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was much. Only thing sometimes the pole, broke off, when you turned too tight or something, then you broke the pole, and then you had to put a new one on again, and otherwise there wasn't that much going on that could break.
Okay. And are these some more one-bottom plows?
Yeah, there's another one plow, and then I think there should be a breaker plow here too.
A breaker plow?
Yeah. Let's see that one back there.
Okay.
See, that's what they used to break up pasture or prairie. That laid it around better, See, that's what they call a breaker plow.
So that would have been, for like what we're standing on ground like this, to use to turn it into a field to plant?
Yeah.
That would have been what you would need.
See, like pasture like this. See, that broke it up better, so that turned it, laid it on the place,
And now this would have been a little tougher work to do. Would this still have only had 4 horses on it?
Yeah, they broke this up, and then they came with that disc.
Okay.
See, to make it, tear it up a little bit, and get it. And then they came with the drill and plowed it, and then they came with a harrow behind it and harrowed it again. So with time, it got pretty soft then.
Yeah. Looking at all of this equipment, what was the impact of tractors and more machines to do the work instead of horses?
Well, see, later on, everybody got bigger. Farms used to get bigger, and they couldn't do it with horses. You couldn't, like some people had 500-600 acres, and they couldn't get done in a year. I mean, with the horses. So when the tractors came out, they usually added more land, and got bigger, and they could do a lot more work in a day than they did here all.
So they still worked as much, they just had more land instead
Yeah,
with the tractors.
yeah, they got bigger. Yeah, but that's
Wow. And what's this?
now this is a corn sheller.
It would take the husks off?
Yeah, it takes the husks off, and the corn comes out here. The shell corn. You know, I mean, to take the shells off. I mean, shell the corn.
So it wasn't the husk, or it was just the husks it took, or would it
Yeah,
actually?
it took the husks off too. See, the husks went up that way. See that you shovel them in there,
Okay.
then it went out, and then it took the husks off and the kernels off the cob.
Oh, okay.
See, then the corn came out here, and the husks and the cobs, went on a pile, for
Pigs again to feed.
that was quite a invention when they had this then to get the corn shelled.
And then it wasn't as bad.
Hadn't do it by the hand,
Wow. And this would have been powered again by a tractor?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
this is powered.
When would something like this have come out? Do you remember?
I'd say in the 40s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even in the 40s when we get a lot of the tractor-powered machinery coming
mostly
out.
before they had tractor-powered stuff.
Do you remember the first tractor?
Yep,
on the farm?
I remember my first tractor when Dad bought it. It was a little Armalane, a 2-bottom plow and a pecker. I think he paid $1,200 in '41. I can still remember it. I drove it home. Lights on and starter, and oh, that was a big deal. Yeah, I still got it. I still got my first tractor.
Really?
And my first car. Yeah.
Wow. We'll have to go take a look at those yet as well.
Yeah, I still got them.
Wow. Now, when you got the first tractor, did you still use some of, like a horse plow instead?
No, not plowing. The other stuff like the corn planting and stuff like that we use still, but plowing I did everything with the 2-bottom plow and all night, with the lights till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I kept ahead of plowing for Dad to drill, with the big drill. But I kept plowing ahead, But them days, everybody worked a lot at night with the lights. You could see lights all over, and nobody wanted to go home first. No, that guy's still out. I'm going another round.
So there's a little bit of friendly competition between the farmers.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is a potato planter. I don't think you've ever seen one of them.
No, never seen it. Have no idea how it works.
Yeah, you sit back here, so you dump the potatoes in here, and then you sit back there, and then you put the potatoes in there, and they went down and into a row. Yeah, that covered them up back here, those 2 discs. So didn't have to do it by hand no more. Yeah. See, and then this is the digger. See, when they were ready, to dig them out, you dug them out, see, and they came out in the back, the dirt fell down and the potatoes came out.
Then they would just lay on top? And
Yeah,
they lay. Back and pick them up by hand?
Then you have to pick them up by hand, yeah.
So you just walk behind an entire field?
Yeah,
like this.
Yeah, on the rows, on the potato rows, See, that threw them up.
How many horses would pull this?
Well, we usually 2 horses.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that heavy.
And were you steering it, or?
Well, you had to hold in the back and kind of guide it. I think I got another one, maybe someplace that's a little newer.
It must take quite a while going up and down the field.
Yeah, but it was better than digging them up with a fork or with a spade,
That's true.
That was a lot of work with the spade.
Would the little kids have been?
Yeah, they picked
Who
them
could
up.
picked them up
Yeah,
then? That'd have
everybody
been-
had to help pick them up, you know.
Did your mom help out on the field a lot?
Oh yeah, she was always in the field. She was at least at headering. See, when we headed, you know, she had to stack the pile, the hay pile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they used to work hard, those women. Then they had to go home and cook for everybody, and then milk, and they worked. And then there was no stoves. See, there were stoves. They had to coal stoves. There was no electric stoves. They had to first heat the fire, and yeah, it was different, but
So did she also have a garden as well that she would take care of?
Oh yes, big garden and a lot of chickens, and oh yeah, they were always outside. There was no television or.
Who did the laundry and the housework then, if your mom was
Yes.
helping out in the field a lot?
She had to do that too. She did that when she came home or in the evenings.
Would the girls help out, or would the boys
When they were
help out?
bigger, when the girls got bigger ones, yeah, then they helped out.
Did your dad ever help in the house?
No, no, he never helped in the house.
How would you describe your mother?
Well, I don't know what to say. She was a good woman, and I think she was only 17 when she got married, and she had 8, 9, 10, 6, 7. Let's see, 6, 7, 8 kids.
Wow.
Yeah, because there was 4 of them, you know, from the first wife.
And then you were the oldest that lived of
Yeah,
her kids.
yeah.
Can you name the siblings after you in order?
What?
Can you name your brothers and sisters after you in order?
Oh yeah, yeah. See, my next sister was Lena, and then there was Annie, and then there was Matt, and then there was Walter. No, there was Leroy, and there was Walter, and then there was Betty. So they were all younger.
So were you ever in charge of your brothers and sisters as well as your parents?
Well, yeah, towards last, I usually took care of a lot of them, like Betty was. See, when they moved to town, she didn't like it in town, so she was here with me for quite a while, I was single. I was single till I was 31 years old.
Wow.
Too much fun running around. So.
That is quite a longer time than most people in this area waited to get married.
I know, but.
Were you just busy farming and not?
Well, yeah, I farmed here, and then, there was a lot of bunch of other guys and stuff, we ran around together and we had a lot of fun, so we didn't think about women.
Interesting.
We had more fun going to the dance or coming home on the car than we had at the dance.